Assalamu alaikum, ahlan, welcome. Thank you all so much for joining. Barakallahu fikum. Um, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Ahlan, sister. Thank you so much for joining. What I'm going to do right now is bring some attention to TikTok so that others who are familiar with our page and even those who are not may want to join. And if you all don't mind, if you all could do the same, share this live with your friends, your family, anyone you feel may need to hear this conversation or be a part of the conversation, inshallah. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Um, what I was spending time doing was, of course, the letting the algorithm populate and inform you all that this conversation was taking place. And so, I mean, alhamdulillah. So there's that. For those of you who don't know, my name is Radia, and we've been having Muslim Women Wednesday, probably a good 3+ years now, I think. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. And so for those of you who are unaware of what Muslim Women Wednesday is, Muslim Women Wednesday is a time for us as sisters to come together, to uplift one another, to inform one another about whatever we may be going through, some information we may have access to that others may not, so that we can fulfill our role better as servants, mothers, nieces, aunties, grandchildren, child, whatever the role is. Most importantly, above that is the role of us as a slave to Allah, the Most High, the Almighty, inshallah. So what I'm going to do right now is begin with dua. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, asatsu rasulullah. Again, this is Muslim Women Wednesday. And so what we tend to do on Muslim Women Wednesday, we only allow sisters to speak. This is the only time in which only sisters can speak. Men, brothers are allowed in this space. However, any questions, suggestions, or comments that you have to be from the confinements, rather, of the chat feature in the comments, inshallah. Wa alaikum salam. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for the hearts. So for those of you who don't know, let me share with you all of the ways in which you can follow, and please do. We do ask that you kindly follow us. The official podcast name is Radia's Real Talk Podcast, which is on YouTube, of course, Instagram, and on TikTok, alhamdulillah. And then, we are also on my Facebook business page, as well as, what else are we on? Clubhouse. Clubhouse, the house being right now taking care of 5 before 5. So you are more than welcome to join. That is the place from which, if any sisters prefer to speak or would be willing to speak, this is the only platform that I do open up so that sisters can speak. So typically what we do to start our conversations, Allah may have exposed me to some form of a video, a book, or conversation, and I just bring it, I share it with you all. And that's not saying that we believe whoever it is that is speaking, we follow them. We're not saying we are one with them or anything like that. It's just to start the conversation. And of course, everything that we do, we're looking at it and talking about it from the lens of Islam. Okay. So this would be one way that those of you who are not Muslim would be able to understand us better, and to be able to okay, yes, we've got some very rude people that are popping up on my YouTube. I had to stop myself in my tracks. Oh yeah, let me make that disclaimer, okay? I I do not tolerate any disrespect towards myself, towards Allah, towards this way of life, or other Muslims. Period. Okay. After all of that would be other women, other sisters. No, zero tolerance, or any brothers for that matter. Zero tolerance. I'm not even going to acknowledge you or address you. If I see anything that you're saying, you're out of here. That's all. I'm gonna report you and you're out of here. Point blank, period. Okay. So I did come across a video that I wanted to share. In this case, since it's a conversation, it's going to be audio. And what we do is we'll listen, and hopefully you take notes, whether it's physical notes that you're writing on your pad, or notes in your head, so that you can remember your talking points or your ahas, whatever you experience that you'd be willing to share. And if there's anything else that should be added, right? Okay. Because we've kind of talked about these things before. And even if we have, Allah has made it so that we're able to look at it or hear about it from another angle. And, and the benefit reminds the believer, in case, we have discussed this before, right? Okay, so let's play the clip. Bismillah. See which way it's gonna make me do it. Hold on. Let's see if it'll make me do it. Let me do it this way.
Where are you with love in your life now? What you said? Tisha, that was a very direct question. I didn't hear you. Where are you with love? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the love for myself. I'm still unpacking all of that. I know that I love people. I just don't know if I'm loved back by people. That's a really hard statement to say. Let me tell you the story. So I was doing this thing with Shirley Ralph. It was called Diva Simply Singing, right? And on the show was Brenda Russell. Remember Brenda Russell? Of course, Piano in the Dark. She also wrote You Can Reach Me by Trailway, right? Get there if you can. And I asked her, I said, that song, I said, God, it's so beautiful. I don't care how you get there. Just get there if you can. I said, who were you talking about when you wrote that song? And she says, oh, yeah, that's where people get it, misconstrued, because I wasn't talking about a person. I was talking about love itself. I've never been loved in my life.
Oof, that's so sad. Oh, my God.
You've never been loved in your life. And then now I am here in this moment, kind of more understanding her words. I have loved, and I put my whole heart into it. I not only believe in the good of man, I also believed in marriage, commitment, all of the things. And I'm still waiting to be loved properly the way that I define love. Maybe that's not fair to somebody, but I'm such a giver. I've given. And I'm still waiting for that to come. I have hope. Yeah. Well, that somebody will love me past Gina. So I'm open.
Okay. Inshira, you are the only one here inside of Clubhouse. If you'd like to join me on stage, I would love to have you. What are your thoughts? Anyone else that is that is watching on the other streams, feel free to share what your thoughts are. Was there any aha moments or anything like that that you would like to share? Did you leave anything out? What are your thoughts? Okay, since I don't have anyone willing to share at the moment, covered all the Fab. I hope and pray that changes as we, continue the talk. So what I'm thinking about, if you all know me, you know where I'm going. Where I'm going is love languages. Love languages. I had no idea. Much of what I know now, I didn't know in either of my marriages. Now, mind you, the longest standing marriage I had was more than 20 years. And so I mean, I kind of knew what kind of person I was, but to put a label on it, that's the thing. The labels. I don't do well with those, but nonetheless, um, you know, because whenever somebody presents, like a multiple choice kind of situation, or a check off, I can't just. I've never been able to just be one of those things. I've always seen myself as minimum two, but in this case, I think I'm a combination of all of them, and it just depends on who I'm with, and that's in marriage, and who my friends are, um, and things of that nature. So one of the things we have to know that about ourselves. What is our love language? We can't expect someone to love us like we would love ourselves or to our understanding. That's not fair. And that's why I could tell with how she was kind of there was some uncertainty in her answer. She didn't know quite how to answer that. I could tell. Um, okay, so someone is saying love it's unconditional only. Condition don't break my heart. Honor us. Okay. There we go. Bye-bye. Another rude person. قدر الله ما شاء فعل. They had nerves to let you say something more than once. I thought they were filtering out my comments. Anyway. um yeah, so first you have to, what's the expression, know thyself. Know what your love languages are. Um Matter of fact, let's see if we can pull that up and go over those. That's something we haven't really done much of. Um Google. Let's talk about it. There we go. Okay. So, the first of the love languages that this person was able to come up with was words of affirmation. Again, for me, it depends. When it's small children, I tend to, I'll use the word sweetie, especially if that child is a sweet child. I'll say sweetie. I say that with my children because they're my babies. um, but and that's kind of across the board. I think that the endearing words. I'm not as good as some people I know, some friends of mine I have that you all kinds of love bug and what's some other ones, peaches, I don't know. I'm like, how do you come up with this and how are you comfortable doing that? And it's so funny that I only knew, I knew this friend of mine, she had a sister and I'd never met her. And so, I was just anxious to just, see and experience her too. So when I finally got to meet her, I was like, oh my God, there's two of you. They're the exact same, with the love language, the words of affirmation and things. And I was like, wow, 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 wow. I just was blown away. So that was, a nice surprise. So is that something that you like uh to either say and or receive? How does it make you feel when someone speaks life into you, right? That's kind of what that looks like. You don't see the glass as half empty. You always see it as half full, or at least more times than not. I pray, inshallah. Sometimes we have our moments, right? But the possessor of one, in my mind, this is what I'm thinking. The person who Their love language is words of affirmation. It's also like, and I know those of you who are of this hue know what I'm talking about when I say this, inshallah, that it's something about, and this is what the palm colored people say, right? Of us that pay attention and that aren't jealous of us or envy of us. They love how we see them. When we see you, when we like what you're wearing, we like how you are, we gonna let you know, right? And it's a certain way in which we do it, and of course all of us don't possess that gift, but I have seen a number of videos where people have said that they like how we compliment, how we acknowledge. Like, I see you work these shoes, girl. Just that's just how we are, many of us, right? Um, and then, for someone to give that to you, breathe life into you, right? That would just make you feel that much more proud, that much, if you're short, that much taller, right? And if you're a heavy girl, make you feel like I got curves for days, okay? As opposed to seeing yourself in other ways, negative ways, okay? Um, Another one, quality time. This is another love language. Do you love to spend quality time with those of whom you love? I do. I do. I absolutely do. I had a gathering a couple of months ago with some sisters, and I had tasked everyone with bringing two things: bringing the food that finds them comfort, that gives them love and makes them, feel loved, or that they want to give love, and or if it was something physical, to bring that and to talk about. Okay, so when it came to my turn, everybody. There was, I was quite surprised. There was a number of sisters that had brought some kind of blanket or something. Like, what the heck? But then you got to hear the story. And so, I couldn't pinpoint anything for myself except to say that I love to entertain. I love when I like you or I love you for the pleasure of Allah, I'm going to feed you. The minimum that we're going to have is maybe tea, and that's it. And then if I'm able to up the ante, it's going to be tea and one of my cakes that I bake, or a pie, something like that. It's not going to be any. I'm not going. If I love you, if I want to spend time with you, I want to get to know you, and see what your reaction is to my way of giving. I want something that's from me. I'm not going to go and get something store bought. I don't do that. So I was sharing with them that one of the things that I love is to entertain. And so they were like, "Oh, okay." And they could tell, with how I was with them. I mean, so much so that, I had to think about it, because I don't know. I don't know how I could not have already known that answer. But I remember one day, I'm thinking out loud, and I think my children were around me, and they were like, "Umi, really?" So I was basically asking, I was like, about, um, gatherings, when, I was looking back at my time when we were here in the States before having left to go overseas. And I thought to myself, I was like, why did everybody always, I mean, not boasting or bragging or anything. It was a packed house. It was always, people there. And I got to thinking, I was like, why? And then one day it hit me, and I've shared this before, that back in those days, Allah blessed me. I had my sister, you all know her, Dina. And, I'm the social butterfly. So when I'm in my mood to have a gathering, I got the sisters at my place, the brothers are at her place. So there was always, it could be a whole family day, a whole family event. Everybody could come. There, nobody had to worry about babysitters. So, alhamdulillah, Allahumma barak. So I think that, that was the big part of it. And plus we had fun. There was nothing else going on. We played games, and of course, remembering Allah in the way that we did and things like that. So, and I just, I was flabbergasted. Brother Talib, I see you. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Barakallahu feek for joining. This is a memory I have about Egypt. I remember first getting there. I had just met sisters. And matter of fact, I keep saying this and I keep forgetting. There was one sister that I had met, and I don't know what it was or what it is about me, but she sent me this text asking me to take over the group that we had in Egypt. And I had to share that with Nora rahimahullah. It wasn't a surprise to her, but I'm like, I just got here. I'm like, she don't know me. How did she ask me something like this? And I was just appalled. I was like, sis, that's not fair. I just got here. I said, I barely know Aleph Bet Teh, for one. And I don't know the rules and regulations, what we can and can't do. And, that's a lot on me. I said, I would be more than happy to help, but to put it all on me, that's not fair. And so, and I don't know that I'll ever see this sister again to ask her, but I think she was setting me up. And I say that because, I'm thinking perhaps she's asked other sisters. They all said no. And then here I am, fresh meat. I'm a fob, fresh off the boat. Let me ask this sister, right? And then also the other part of what I'm thinking is the sister was preparing to make her exodus from Egypt at some point, and didn't feel right just abruptly leaving and not putting it in the hands of someone that could possibly continue, carry on the baton. And alhamdulillah, I tried not to I tried not to do anything. And I had another sister. Again, she'd have to be another one I'd have to ask. Did she put you up to this? Or what? But somebody else came at me. Yeah, you should do that. I'm like, no, you should. These are your people. And Americans too. So why not you? I'm not always here. I was like, okay. And so, I found myself, I easily get bored. So I said, okay, all right. Cementna walked on it. Okay. And so we would begin meeting on the lawn, as we called it. And, but I have to, look back. I have to look back, ever since, even before I was married, I always had gatherings. I really sat and thought about it one time. I said, because I was trying to think, was there ever a time that we didn't? But we did it. Everywhere I have lived, I have had, even if no one else did it, I'm like, okay, I'll do it, but we tried to make it to where when I was trying to make it not so burdensome on me and my family, even though there was something in it for them. So I would ask, first I always put it out to the other sisters. Would anybody be willing to host? Nobody. I was like, okay, I'll start. And I guess that's what it always took, me starting, and then, okay, and then they, as people saw how we connected and how much fun it was and everything, they're like, okay, I'll be happy to do that too. So it became a regular thing, alhamdulillah. And so I'm also saying and sharing that with you all, that if you all are not doing such things, that you all should as well, inshallah. And this time around, I'm probably the least active with, putting groups together. There's a group that was already forming, when we came back. it was on a small scale. And then, I had my share of complaints about it, and the sister got tired of hearing my complaints, and she just booted me out of the group. And then another sister got involved with the group, and somehow she knew or wanted to invite me, and we had words, and she's like, "I'm putting you back in there." I'm like, "Okay." And so, it has become what it has become. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. And so I participate. I'm not the one initiating unless, I volunteer to host. So there's not so much pressure anymore. Alhamdulillah. Okay, moving on. Physical touch. I would say if you're a Westerner, in more cases than not, I would say this is probably everybody's one, at least one of their love languages. And the reason I say that is because when we're together as sisters, or even as women, we don't even have to know each other. Somebody cracks a joke and they're sitting next to us, for whatever reason, we feel the need to touch them. Or if they say some girl, it you know, we're just touchy feely people, and so there's that. But yes, I love physical touch. My children could tell you that, so much so, because I felt so deprived of that coming up, that I said, I was saying, as I grew up, if I ever had children, they're going to know that they're loved. I'm going to say I love you. I'm going to hug and kiss them every day. And that's exactly what I did. When they went to bed, when they woke up, hug and a kiss, and I love you every day. And then when they started getting older, started smelling themselves, as we say, they stopped liking that. And they're like, "Uh," you know, um, eh, but, I'm like, oh, come on, um, and I only have one that will allow me to be that way with them, more than the others. I mean, the others do here and there. It's not so much that I like I said, I would love it every day. And they spoiled me in allowing me to be that way with them as they were when they were young. But they constantly remind me, well, I'm older now and I don't like it. I'm like, oh my God, it's so hurtful. So, yes, love the physical touch. Acts of service, that goes back to what I was saying about hosting. Um, uh, the work that I do with the community, showing up here, this isn't something I have to do. I'm not getting paid for it. Maybe I am with Allah, in some way, and this counts as good deeds, on my scale, inshallah. But outside of that, I'm not. I would love to. I would love to be paid very well for, showing up and having these conversations with you all. Inshallah. I mean, look, let's make it a dua. I mean, um, receiving gifts. I love receiving gifts and I love giving gifts. And I'm it amazes me for those who know me, and I'm the same way. And I guess that's the thing we have in common. I pay attention to, like I said, we have to know the other person's love languages as we know of our own. And so I love when Allah positions me to be able to give to someone, to let them know I heard what they said, or I paid attention, even when, you didn't think that I was listening, or listening as intently. I love the look of surprise, on people's faces, when I'm able to do that. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. And I guess, like I said, those that are close to me, they enjoy that as well, because that's something they're able to do and have done for me. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. So, with that being said, since I've gone through all 5 of the love languages, for those of you who are still here, anything that you all want to add, or any ahas, anything that you'd like to share, again, you're more than welcome. And Shira, since Clubhouse is the only place where I'm allowing any sisters to speak. It is Muslim Women Wednesday. For those of you who don't know, this is the only time in which sisters are allowed to speak and brothers can be that fly on the wall. Okay. So if any brothers are here and you have something you want to add, ask, or suggest, you have to do that from the chat. Okay. And if you haven't already, please invite others, share this live with others, share this room with others so that others can join us, inshallah. So we can, I thrive off of interaction, engagement. So I'm liking my own video inside of TikTok in the hopes that inshallah others will see that we're having this conversation and possibly join us, inshallah. And I did want to, let's see, what did I do with it? It's probably better if I do it this way. Let me back up here. Oh shoot, I may have to do that. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Oh, here we go. I hope. I'll tell you what I'm doing in a second. Okay. So one of the things I'm gonna go ahead and do, since there are others who have joined, is I'll replay the video. Let me know what your thoughts are. And then I have something else that I want to share. Inshallah. Okay, no, that's not it. Here. Uh-oh. Okay, there we go. It's slow. What is it? Ooh, no. Okay. Okay, here we go. Bismillah. It's slow.
Where are you with love in your life now? What you said? Tisha, that was a very direct question. I didn't hear you. Where are you with love? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the love for myself. I'm still unpacking all of that. I know that I love people. I just don't know if I'm loved back by people. That's a really hard statement to say. Let me tell you the story. So I was doing this thing with Shirley Ralph. It was called Diva Simply Singing, right? And on the show was Brenda Russell. Remember Brenda Russell? Of course, Piano in the Dark. She also wrote You Can Reach Me by Trailway, right? Get there if you can. And I asked her, I said, that song, I said, God, it's so beautiful. I don't care how you get there, just get there if you can. I said, who were you talking about when you wrote that song? And she says, oh, yeah, that's where people get it, misconstrued, because I wasn't talking about a person. I was talking about love itself. I've never been loved in my life. Oof. You've never been loved in your life. And then now I am here in this moment, kind of more understanding her words. I have loved and I put my whole heart into it. I not only believe in the good of man, I also believed in marriage, commitment, all of the things. And I'm still waiting to be loved properly the way that I define love. Maybe that's not fair to somebody, but I'm such a giver. I've given. And I'm still waiting for that to come. I have hope. Yeah. Well, that somebody will love me past Gina. So I'm open.
Okay. Anyone want to share their thoughts before I move into the next thing that I want to just share with you all? Inshira? No? Still no? Okay, no problem. لا مشكلة. Okay, so what I wanted to share, since she mentioned it, and when I was listening to music, that was a very that was one of my favorite songs. So what we're gonna do, I'm not singing it, and we ain't listening to the music. Music is hold on, the instruments, right? Okay, so but we are going to do what I am going to do is read the lyrics, and then you can tell me your thoughts, inshallah. You can reach me by railway. You can reach me by trailway. You can reach me on a plane or airplane. You can reach me with your mind. You can reach me by caravan. Cross the desert like an Arab man. I don't care how you get here. Just get here if you can, right? You can reach me by sailboat. Climb a tree and swing rope to rope. Like Tarzan, right? Gotta make light of this. Take a sled and slide down a slope into these arms of mine. You can jump on a speedy colt, cross the border in a blaze of hope. I don't care how you get here. Just get here if you can, right? There are hills and mountains between us. Always something to get over. If I had my way, surely you would be closer. I need you closer. Okay, moving on. Again, she says, there are hills and mountains between us. Always something to get over. If I had my way, surely you would be closer. I need you closer. You can windsurf into my life. Take me up on a carpet ride. You can make it, you can make it in a big balloon. But you better get here soon, or make it soon. Rather. Look, I'm going off here. You can reach me by caravan. Once again, cross that desert like an Arab man, right? I don't care how you get here. Just get here if you can. I don't care how you get here. I don't care how you get here. I need you right here, right now. I need you right here, right now. Right by my side. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I don't care how you get here. Just get here if you can. Okay. So I refrained from looking at this, entire in its entirety until doing this just now. Um, and I'm reflecting off what Tisha Campbell, that was Tisha Campbell, has said of her conversation with Brenda. Or I said Brenda, that ain't her name. What's her name? Olita Adams. Olita Adams was the person who wrote that song. And that's though she said Tisha is sharing with us what Olita said. If I have to be honest and think about it as it relates to the 5 love languages that I just shared with you all, I haven't been loved either. I have not been loved either. And that's why, every time I hear her say that, I'm like, because it's true. Again, I had no idea before any of my marriages what love language was. I just knew I loved hard. I loved a lot. I was thirsty. All of these things, had so much love that I wanted to be able to give and would do so. And again, I share with you all, I love, the look of surprise, and this the overall reaction. And if I don't, it's a killjoy if I don't get the kind of reaction. It's not a certain reaction I'm looking for, but if, if I don't get a good positive response, let's say it like that, that's a wrap for me. That's a wrap for me. So I see others have joined. Thank you so much for joining. Assalamu alaikum and greetings. Thank you so much for joining. We are talking about, have you ever been loved? And so I also want to talk about self-love. Okay. So many of us were waiting for someone to love us, but do we love ourselves? Right? That's the biggest thing. If we're able to love ourselves, inshallah, when Allah brings us our husband, or bring you brothers listening, Allah brings you your wife, it would make it that much sweeter, inshallah. But if we can't love ourselves, if we can't respect ourselves, if we can't do self-care, prioritize ourselves the way that Allah has commanded us in Surah At-Tahrim, Ayah 6, save yourself, then your family, in that order, from the fire that is filled with men and stones. If we can't do that, we can't prioritize ourselves, not looking at it as being selfish, not allowing others to guilt us in creating some me time, you know. Now, I mean, if you can get it in every day, I say go for it. But the least of what I'm suggesting, that, you know, for those of you who are unfamiliar, or, you know, you haven't conditioned yourself to get to know yourself, spoil yourself, refill your cup, right? Instead of pouring from an empty cup, you know, minimum of once a week. If that's not possible, please don't let 1 month go by. Please do not. At least have something to look forward to once a month. You know, and that could be what? That could be getting your hair done. That could be getting a facial, getting a massage, going to the gym, going for a walk. You know, I want you to think back to the things that you used to do that brought you joy. Maybe it's journaling, scrapbooking, jumping rope. You know, look, I'm naming some of my favorites. Bowling, riding your bike, right? So going back to the things that you used to do, even if it was in your childhood, let's reach back into our childhood. What things did we do that were fun, right? So yes, I do see again others have joined. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, Ahlan. Um, Al Wadud, yes, Barakafiki for that. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar with, you know, Allah's attribute, Al Wadud, yes, that is what we're talking about. Alhamdulillah. You have anything else that you want to add and share? Did I miss anything? You know, like I said, you know, much of the times we've kind of talked about these things before. But for those of you who are unaware, this is well, let's see, can I look at it while I got the phone here? I want to share with you all. This is Black Maternal Health Week, and once I, you know, get out of here, I'll be sharing something that, you know, you all should look at, and I hope you engage with it as well. It's quite alarming. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Barakatuh Fiki for joining. Yeah, I would love to, you know, for you all to engage with, you know, the video, inshallah. Just so you're aware, what we are talking about is, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Someone else has joined, alhamdulillah. We're talking about, have you ever been loved? So I'll, you know, since there are some more of you that have joined, I will play this clip once again so you can hear it and know what we're talking about. This was the talking point. And then I had some things that I shared that I'll recap, inshallah. Let me get this thing to act right if I can, and see if we can get some other people in here before we start this again, so that inshallah we can get some more reactions, possibly. Okay, I don't know what's going on with it. Why are you acting like this? I didn't want it. Let's see, can I do it? I've got a kind of dual screen thing going right now. Let's see. I don't know what's going on with my iPad. I appreciate you acting like this. Let's see if I can bring it up over here. It's just stay on this side. May not. I might have to see if I can move it. No, just go over there. Come on. It's not gonna do it. Oh, I'm going the wrong way with it. There we go. Come on. Go over there. Okay, let's try to grab it again. Okay, there we go. Whew. Okay, let me find it. Oh, Lord. Okay. Where is it? Okay, here we go. I'm getting there. Okay, Bismillah. I don't want it to show up on there. It's coming. Just bear with me. Bismillah.
Where are you with love in your life now? I know that I love people. I just don't know if I'm loved back by people. That's a really hard statement to say. Let me tell you the story. So I was doing this thing with Shirley Ralph. It was called Diva Simply Singing, right? And on the show was Brenda Russell. Remember Brenda Russell? Of course, Piano in the Dark. She also wrote
That, Brenda.
You Can Reach Me by Trailway, right? Get there if you can. And I asked her, I said, that song, I said, God, it's so beautiful. I don't care how you get there, just get there if you can. I said, who were you talking about when you wrote that song? And she says, oh, yeah, that's where people get it, misconstrued, because I wasn't talking about a person. I was talking about love itself. I've never been loved in my life. Ooh, you've never been loved in your life. And then now I am here in this moment, kind of more understanding her words. I have loved, and I put my whole heart into it. I not only believed in the good of man, I also believed in marriage, commitment, all of the things. And I'm still waiting to be loved properly the way that I define love. Maybe that's not fair to somebody, but I'm such a giver. I've given, and I'm still waiting for that to come. I have hope. Yeah. Well, that somebody will love me past Gina. So I'm open. Where are you?
Okay. Yes, Brother Najid, I see everything that you're asking. I'm watching a clip that I'm just using, the video in the form of audio in this case, where Tisha Campbell was interviewed and she asked, I love, yet I've never been loved. And so that's what my question was to those who have joined me. Have you ever been loved? Okay. Um, and this is Muslim Women Wednesday. So um, I was hoping other sisters would join so that they could be audible. But, alhamdulillah, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, a number have been, typing in the comments and things of this nature. So, along with playing that clip, what we did was we talked about the 5 love languages. For those who are unfamiliar, I'm encouraging for those of you who are looking to get married or remarried, that you come to know that of yourself. What are your love languages first and foremost, right? And then, for any potential brother or sister, you want to find out what their love languages are as well. And if there's room for compromise, right? So you don't want it to be all like how she was saying, she gives, and she has yet to receive, right? So that's something that we want to be able to share with those that we love and that are close to, and those that we may look to marry, inshallah bi'idhnillah. So that is what I wanted to share with this being Muslim Women Wednesday today. I wanted to encourage any sisters, if you have a topic that you feel that we need to talk about, please let me know, DM me. If there's a guest you feel that I should have, I would love to know who. Please share, the work that we do here with them. Allah has blessed us with another house that is called Muslim Storytellers. So, as it relates to the podcast channel, that would just be another playlist column, Muslim storytelling. So, if there are those of you who have a story that you would like to share, we'd love to hear it. If there are those that you feel that that I may not know, and you have access to them, whereas I don't, if they're a great storyteller, please approach them and on my behalf and let them know that we have a place for them. We would love to hear whatever their story is, inshallah. And I do have an upcoming episode that I'm looking forward to. And I pray Allah you all will as well. And so just keep a lookout for that. And then, for those of you that don't know, we also are live when we're able to do the community conversations. We try to make those on Sundays, but sometimes it's Mondays. Sometimes it's other days. It depends on whether I have a guest or what's going on in my life for the most part. So, any questions before we sign off, inshallah? Comments about anything that I've shared with you guys as it relates to love languages. And another thing that, for those of you who weren't here for it, the other thing that I did was I shared the lyrics to Get Here. For those of you who, if you were anything like me, we thought all this time that she was talking about a person, that she was making reference to. I mean, she was in a sense, but I'll just say a fictitious person because, according to what Tisha Campbell has said, she's never been loved. So if no one has, if you first out, and I'll say that it's true of any of us that didn't know what our love languages were, didn't convey that to those of whom we loved so that they could love us according to our love language, we haven't been loved either. It's not just her, it's us too, right? And so we want to change that, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. So those were the things that we discussed for today. I want to thank you all so much for joining. As it seems the longer I stay on here, more and people are just coming in peekabooing and seeing what's going on. I do thank you all so much for joining. If you are not following the love languages in summary. I'll just name them, and then you all can you go into that a little further for yourselves. Let's not do it that way. Hold on. Um, mm, just bear with me. Oh, shoot. Here we go. So, in summary, they are words of affirmation. Kind of what that looks like is you love to give to someone, who may have low self esteem, had a bad day. You want to be able to share some words that will let them know, I see you, right? Um, on the, or it could be on the other end. You would love for whatever partner Allah has blessed you with, or that He will bless you with, to possess the ability to breathe life into you by His words, right? And I'm thinking about Roberta Flack with that one, with his words. Killing me softly with his words. Another one is quality time. Yes. So what quality time could look like, for those that are clueless, that could mean, any we want to try, for those of us that have money issues, we want to eliminate that. We want to get all of that off the table to where there's no excuses why you can't do something with your husband or your wife. And that could mean something as simple as going on a walk together, right? Going hiking, going camping, even if it's camping in your own backyard, right? Um, Playing, games, be it card games or board games, or even video games, since many men love to play video games. I can't get with some of that stuff they got going on now. If this was back in the 80s, 90s, you might would have had me. And then, of course, alhamdulillah, I've been places where they apparently some people love those games too, and they have places where they still have some of those games that I'm familiar with, and I'm like, I just, it just brings my heart joy when I see them, especially if I even get a chance to play it. But that quality time, right? You don't want to just be there together. You want to have something that you're doing, a picnic. Like I said, these are things that cost you nothing. These are things that you already have in your house and that you can, just put together, right? But that could be your date night. And date night doesn't mean that it has to be at night, right? You can have lunch together. Surprise your husband. Go to his job and have lunch with him. Same with you brothers. Go to your wife's job if she, works somewhere away from home, and surprise her, with lunch, or uh, actually go somewhere, for lunch, those kinds of things, or movie, anything, right? Receiving gifts. Do you thrive off, like, if you're anything like me? Of course, I love, who doesn't love receiving gifts? But I also love to see when I'm able to gift someone that I love with something that I know that they either need or want or would appreciate. And just their reaction is priceless for me. Um, let's see. Acts of service. Me being here with you all. This is considered an act of service. I've been doing this for more than 5 years, and I have not gotten paid for it monetarily. You know, I enjoy being here with you all. I learn from you all. You all, it's therapeutic, all of that. And um, so, and I was sharing before, I love to entertain my sisters. If we're in this, have a chance to be in the same vicinity, I love you for the pleasure of Allah, or if I want to get to know you, I'm going to feed you. The minimum, that we're going to have together is some tea or juice, inshallah. So, where are you with that? Um, how do you feel about acts of service? Whether you're the one that is doing it or you are on the receiving end. Acts of service. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for the hearts. And the last of them is physical touch. I was saying, for those of us in the West, I didn't really see that as much while I was overseas, like I do here, where like I gave the example that, a couple of people are sitting next to each other and one tells a joke, the other person just has to put their hand on them, inshallah, in a respectful place and, whatnot. But, we are touchy feely, Westerners are touchy feely. Not that others aren't, because they are. And that's what has led to many differences, with us, in our practice, even, unfortunately. So much so, I'm saying, just to give examples, I've seen with my own eyes, women shaking men's hands or brothers' hands, giving each other hugs, giving each other dap, uh yeah. So that. But as it relates to my children, I was giving the example that, when they were coming up, I made sure I gave them hugs and kisses and told them I love them every day, because this is not something that I recall. It could have happened that I never felt the love that I have given to my children. I never felt it coming up. I, yeah, I'll just leave it like that. But are you from a spouse, how are you with PDA, public displays of affection, right? With your spouse. Yeah, so those would be the different things that you can begin to implement, inshallah. And alhamdulillah, I see others have joined us. Thank you so much for joining. Yasmin, you're more than welcome to join me on stage if you like. If there's anything you feel that could be added, or any aha. Yeah, start with your. Uh-oh. Hold on a second. Start with your love language with your parents, siblings, friends, spouse, and then children. Absolutely. And then, of course, with your fellow sisters, fellow brothers. Absolutely. Yeah. So, read further. But what did I miss? Uh, I'm in the States, in Georgia presently. Qadar ma shafa'a. I guess, is that the one that you were asking about? Was there something else? Did I miss anything else? Okay. Keep going. Oh, there's more. You homeschool. Okay. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. Ooh, I remember those days. See, that's all I saw. You're guessing. You're listening. Okay. Uh, okay. Oh, okay. Alhamdulillah. Yeah. So that's basically what I wanted to share with you all for today, for Muslim Women Wednesday. Again, if you all have not, I was saying I do all of these love language levels with my children. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. No, same, absolutely the same, or at least I try to. That physical touch, they're as they've gotten older, they're like, okay, enough, mommy. Right. The mother is the first teacher. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, but you know, but wanted. Okay. Oh, Musa. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining. I was wondering where you were. Oh, yeah, we kind of already wrapped up, unfortunately. And as you can probably hear, I don't know what's going on with my breathing. A little stuffed. I have a stuffed nose. Musa. Oh, okay. You're Musa as well. Alhamdulillah. And where are you? Wrapped Pearl. Where are you located? My firstborn. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And the other Musa. Okay, Philly. Okay. The other Musa who normally joins me. Where are you from? Or where do you currently reside? Thank you so much for the hearts. Okay, New York. Okay, you all kind of neighbors. Inshallah, you all can follow each other and possibly meet, inshallah. And we have Yasmin that's in Philly as well. Been Muslim since 18. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. Beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so just to very quickly recap, inshallah. Oh, you're 41. Alhamdulillah. You're brave. Just saying your age and everybody can see it. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik. So I saw this video with just this small little clip of Tisha Campbell being interviewed, and what it says is, I love, yet I've never been loved. And so, I decided to, make that our topic for today for Muslim Women Wednesday. Have you been loved? Do you know your love languages? Do you know how to give love? Are you what's the word I want to say? Would you be willing to compromise as it relates to, for those who are alhamdulillah, Allahumma barik, as it relates to, for those of you who are unmarried, and hopefully, inshallah, you're looking to marry again, would you be willing to compromise? Perhaps this person only possesses, in all of the categories, yes, possesses one of those five, whereas you might be 2, 3, or 4, 5 like me. Would you be willing to, show up in his love language? And I pray Allah, your spouse would be willing to show up for you in one of your love languages as well. Of course, his own, but the things that bring you joy, inshallah, so that you wouldn't be as guilty of what Tisha Campbell saying, that she's never been loved, of what Brenda Adams, Alita Adams has said. That's things people need to talk about before marriage. Absolutely. Definitely just asking about upbringing and helps. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're new to me, but yes, I always, in talking about marriage, that's one of the things, now that I know better, that I'm very big on in sharing. Thank you so much for the follow. Alhamdulillah, barakat fiki. That premarital education, premarital counseling, 5 love languages. Know them. After you know your role, right, and responsibility as Allah's servant, then the various roles that we have placed upon us: mother, wife, daughter, right? Mastering these things, so that because our children, they watch us, they watch and mimic everything we do. Wallahi, everything. Let me tell you. And it's it's funny when some of the even the subtle ones, you catch them doing something that you do or say you've said, and I'm like, wow. Oh, so I try to be very careful. I try to be very careful. And that, even when they were young, especially because that's when they're the most impressionable, right? So, well, at least learn to love oneself. Absolutely. First and foremost. And that, as I mentioned, coincides with what Allah has commanded us. It was a command that we put ourselves first. Surah At-Tahrim, Surah At-Tahrim, Ayah 6, save yourself, right? As we all teach others how to love us. Sure do. We sure do. Absolutely. All day, every day. Alhamdulillah. Um, let's see. Let me add you back, Aliyah. Aliyah. Okay. Ahlan, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining. No. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing what you were saying, Yasmin. Okay, so it shouldn't be too hard to search for good, healthy love. Ooh. I don't know, sis. I don't know. That's I guess that's why, this eh, marriage, love. Oh, you said something else? What else did I miss? That's it. Okay. That's it. Okay. I said that. Uh, mm, okay. Yeah, but you didn't start there. Um, okay. Yes, I've been loved in all categories. That's things people need to talk about. Well, at least learn to love oneself, as we all can teach others how to love us. So it shouldn't be hard to search for good doer. Absolutely. Absolutely. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, so for those of you who have not followed me, I would appreciate the follow. Anytime I post anything, I would appreciate the engagement, the likes, the shares, and any commentary, inshallah. As I've always said, I'm open to any suggestions for future topics, other conversationalists that we can reach out to have them join us, inshallah. Any storytellers, or if you yourself are a good storyteller or have a story you would like to share, and that could be anything, how Allah guided you to Islam, your birth story, um, anything, inshallah. And so we do that in the house. Of course, I'm still on here on TikTok on Raya's Real Talk. But if you come inside of Clubhouse, that house is Muslim storytellers. And as it relates to YouTube, that's the playlist category, Muslim storytellers. Okay. But I'm gonna go ahead and get off here so that I can make make sure I pray before I go to bed, and that I'm not too tired, with praying, inshallah. But I want to thank you all so much for joining. And for those of you that are in Georgia, I will be having a yard sale on Saturday, inshallah. So feel free to come by, see if there's anything that I have that you may want or need, or buy as a gift to someone or something like that, inshallah. I didn't put it here, but I did inside of Clubhouse, the flyer, and of course it's on Facebook. I got a whole video that I've done inside of Instagram. I did not do it on YouTube. I'm so far behind uploading my videos there. Oh, Allah help me. I mean, but I'm gonna go ahead and close. Again, I thank you all so much for joining. Yes, Georgia. um, and سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. آمين. And as I always say, be resilient, inshallah, and have a good rest of your night. And inshallah, I'm going to, now that I've had this, I'll go ahead and schedule what we're going to talk about for the community conversation, inshallah, on Sunday. And thank you again. Assalamu alaikum.